So you might look on Moodle and check when you get a chance.
Was that alright?
That was that take-home test that you're
Nothing's
supposed
changed.
to do.
And then bring
If
it
you
back.
need some, I
And
can
then bring it back, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Do you know the folder that was?
Luigi.
So if you didn't turn it in, get it in to me. I'll still try to get it in the grades today, but
Pull stuff out of it.
last block is my plan. I need it by then, because I'm not gonna rush in here tomorrow early and just throw in a test for anybody.
The reason you singled me out or from me?
No, just because I like you.
You said he would. Okay. As long as I know that we're entering the test or not.
Just check on Moodle and see.
Oh, I did.
I think I sent around the email telling you guys that too, at some point. Like,
Yes, you did, because we turned it in together.
Oh, yeah, we did. Do you have an extra calculator?
Look in the pocket. I found one back there.
There's one right there behind Dylan. So we got two now? Dylan, you said you found one? Yeah, somebody brought one back and put it back, because we only had one before break.
Maybe Dylan just had one in his pocket. There you go.
Well, I turned around when we were looking at something.
I already turned mine
Oh, I
back
found
in.
it.
I don't want to be that type of guy.
I know we don't need to say this again, but, and I said I wasn't gonna say it again, but you guys are seniors. It's up to you to take care of stuff.
That's the terrifying part.
Green set.
Chapter 5.
Yeah, that's it. I'll give it to you. Fourth block. I probably did.
Soon in fourth block, quick.
Oh, I haven't done third block. I did. Probably never. Took a chair.
All right, well, we're gonna cover sales tax and purchase prices. I think earlier this year, we talked about sales tax. I'm not sure why they split it up this way, but, I guess maybe they think you're not smart enough to add it on to the final price also, because earlier this year, we just figured out what the sales tax would be. Now you're actually gonna figure out the sales tax and then have to add it to what you're buying to get the total cost of whatever it is you're buying.
Wait, wasn't that easy?
Everything we've done in here is easy said. Now back to my other thing, I got off track. Seniors, make sure your grades, especially if you're on the border, because they ask me, who do you think is going to pass it? So, well, this person's close. I don't know. So if you take the third 9 weeks off and all of a sudden crap, no, they're going to be upset with Ebersole because, well, you said that you thought they might make it. Well, I didn't know that they were going to not do anything for the third and fourth 9 weeks. I mean, I think they were capable, yes. So you got to make sure it's on you. It's not.
Don't worry, I got you.
I don't want Allie's folks in here trying to beat me up at the end of the year because Allie didn't get a walk across the stage and I ruined everybody's life. Allie, think they do that?
I am walking over the stage.
I'm gonna go come. If I graduate or not. Huh?
How you gonna get
That thing's fake copy, you don't gotta walk over the
You
cake.
don't have to walk.
Dylan said, I'm paying $50 online to get a fake one.
I don't even care about it.
All right, so sales tax, state or local tax on the selling price of an item or service you purchase, usually expressed as a percent. I'm not sure in Eden, there might be something in Eden, but our normal sales tax, you have the state tax and you have a county tax. Now, if you go to other places like over closer to Dayton and stuff, West Carrollton, Miamisburg, where you got some decent sized towns, then they might have the state tax, the county tax, and the city tax that all get applied to a sales tax. Right, but here we just have the county, and the state, and most of you probably didn't even know that there was a county tax because it's added right in on top of the state tax, and nobody ever even knows that Preble County's charging you a tax, but part of that goes to them. And we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about what sales tax is here in a minute in Ohio and in Preble County. And sales receipt, hopefully you know what a receipt is.
Sell receipt. Receipt is the day you throw on the floorboard.
Yeah, see, I have a bad habit of doing that too, and me and my wife, over break, we're starting to try to budget better,
Oh, gee.
because I've been broke. Food prices are ridiculous now. If you gotta, you guys, you know, oh, they just raised minimum wage. Yeah, but they didn't raise it enough to
Matter.
pay for food prices.
They raised it like 60 cents. That was
Right.
it.
If you have a family, I talked to somebody.
Kids.
Oh, I talked to a teacher that retired from here over break, and they were talking about how, you know, oh, we're doing pretty well, and because we don't spend any money on anything, but there's only 2 of them because all their kids are out of the house, so they spend like $200 a month on food, where I spend about $400 every 2 weeks on food. And
Tell them to stop eating so much.
it's killing me right now. Every time we go to the grocery, because everything is the little Debbie's that you used to buy for like $1.25 or whatever, the boxes of it.
$1.
Yeah.
They used to be $1.29. Now they're like $2.29. And even the generic ones at Walmart, they used to be like 89 cents, and then they went up to like $1.29 when the other little Debbie's went up, when the actual ones went up. Now they're up to like $1.89.
That was probably 1960s.
Now it was in the last couple of years. And it's all because of gas prices and all the
Economics.
shipping stuff around and inflation. Everything's going up.
Enterprise.
2 liters, those 2 liters that I drink all the time,
2 for $1, 2 for $2.
you can't even get them now. They're like $2.50, and I'm like, why would I want to pay? I tried to buy the Kroger brand or something for every now and then they'll have them on for $1, and they're terrible. Can't even. I thought, I can drink whatever. It's not a big deal.
You're telling me you don't like Mountain Lightning?
Mountain Lightning, I don't mind so much, but it's up to like $1.60 or something.
Hey, down in Florida, they have something called Dr. Chet.
Hey, you don't like the mountain chowder?
But everything, and it, like I said, it doesn't affect you guys so much unless you're paying for all your food. But for me to buy stuff for my family, you know, you don't think much. Little Debbie's only went up $1. Well, that's everything across the board, though. And so now, where my grocery bill used to be $270 every 2 weeks, now it's about $400 for every 2 weeks.
Meat went up a lot.
Yeah, meat's way up.
I know hamburger went way up.
Yeah, hamburger's ridiculous now.
Touching.
So it's nice having animals.
You know, even butchering prices.
Yeah.
It costs a whole bunch to butcher anything
Still
now.
there paying the grocery.
That's probably true. So sales receipt, proof of purchase, but what I started to say is me and my wife decided to start, we're gonna keep all our receipts and do that monthly thing like we looked at. I even printed off all those papers I gave you guys that had monthly, and we wrote in stuff, how much you're gonna spend on this and this and this. I took all those papers home, printed off a bunch of them, took them home so that we could start trying to set up a budget, figure out how much we spend on each thing. Maybe that'll make me finally stopping at the convenience store on my way home and spending what used to be $3 or $4, now it's like $7 to buy the same stuff. Buy a pop. Pop used to, be like $1.50, $1.70 something. Now it's like $2.30 to buy just a normal 16 or 20 ounce pop. Doesn't make any sense. You might as well buy a 2 liter for $2.50. But so we're gonna start keeping all our receipts so I can keep track of stuff and figure out over the next 2 or 3 months how much we're spending on each thing. Your total purchase price, total selling price of all your items, plus the sales tax. You gotta be careful with sales tax because in Ohio, and I can't tell you all the things now that are for sure not taxed, but some things are taxed, some things aren't taxed. I don't think any medicines are taxed. So if you go buy like a bottle of Tylenol or something from Walmart, I don't think there's tax on that. Any,
Or like actual.
I think any, see, I don't want to just say hygiene, but any women's hygiene products aren't taxed. Now, I think deodorant and stuff like that is still taxed. I don't know how they decide that, right, decipher, which ones they want where. But, gum was one that always confused me. Because there for a while, gum was taxed. When I was growing up, gum wasn't taxed, then it was taxed, and now I think it's not taxed again. I don't know why, but.
I thought for sure they'd have a tax on candy gum, because I mean, it's not like food, it's like luxury items.
Right,
It makes
but
sense.
see, I don't think they distinguish between, and that's the other one is food. Food doesn't get taxed, but then you have stuff like soda and stuff, those kind of drinks, they do get taxed. Now, I think maybe like iced tea, I don't think there's tax on it. Sweet tea, I don't think there is. So I don't know who makes the decision, oh yeah, we're not gonna tax tea, but we are gonna tax Pepsi.
The dairy teas, they say 99 cents, you go to the counter, it's $1.06.
Is it, so they are taxed then? See, some of that stuff, juices and different things, and I don't know much about EBT, using EBT, or, it's like a card that you can use to pay for stuff.
Pretty sure it's based, I think it's for mainly like children care, so like
Right.
getting baby formula, that sort of thing.
But you can also buy like juices and stuff on it.
Buy meat.
Anything that you can buy on that
Well,
isn't taxed. But then other things,
I use it for myself.
it doesn't. I know I got behind somebody in a line yesterday and they were using EBT or something, they were using some form of that. And they had to start them all over again because you can only pay for certain things with that. And so the cashier rang up everything and then the computer wouldn't let her use the card or whatever because there was other stuff on there, so they had to go back and start all over again and just ring up the stuff that would fit onto that.
You know what I haven't seen in a while?
What's that?
These stampers, the couponers. I ain't seen
Those what?
couponers.
I mean, you can go to the store.
I got
and get
stuck
2
behind
cars
one
full
the
of
other day at
groceries for
Walmart. It
free.
took so long.
Yeah.
This guy
As long as you
he didn't follow the coupons. He just got one of the things that like the coupon said on it. So we were standing there and he kept having to go back and find the
Get
stuff.
some.
I'm trying to check out.
My wife, I know she got mad the other day because at Kroger, they do the digital coupon.
Oh yeah.
And we got up front and one of the tags, I don't know, she didn't read it or if it didn't say it correctly or what, but it did, I don't think it said digital coupon. And they charged us the regular price for the item instead of giving us the discount. She was upset about it because it was one of those things where you have to buy 5 to get it.
Yeah, so they just charge you for 5.
Right, so they charged us for 5 and it was like $1.99 each, and it was supposed to be $1.29 each or something if you bought 5 and you had the coupon. So we ended up losing like $3, $3.50 or something. She wasn't real happy about it.
I have an eraser. I said I have an eraser to destroy it.
The two formulas or the two equations that we're going to use, sales tax, to find sales tax, you take the total selling price times the sales rate. I will say on this second one, the total the total purchase price, that's how much you pay. You got to remember in this total selling price might be the taxable stuff plus the untaxed, which most of the time, you know, when you go to the register, you don't have to worry about that because the computer does it all for you. The computer knows what's taxed and what's not taxed. You still got to, and I'm not, hey, there's nobody that's going to go through and check every item. I'm sure there are some people, but most people don't go through and check every item. But I hate to say this, but when I go to Kroger or Walmart, might not be the people who are managers there who plug this stuff into the computer might not have got a degree from Harvard or Yale or somewhere, all right? Let's just say it that way.
You don't think that Harvard students go work at Walmart?
Probably not. So when they're typing this stuff into the computer,
I messed up.
they screw up quite often.
That's why buy 2 get 1 for free at Walmart.
Or you can get it all for free.
If you run fast enough, you can get it all for free.
My dad did that one too.
Use the trash can, that works.
I'll go piece to get a Walmart, and they have one of those big gallon trash cans.
Yeah.
You shove all the stuff into it, put it on it, and just scan the trash can.
You know what? I bet you buy a lot of trash cans.
Why is empty, buddy?
I
Why is the trash can so heavy?
Seth, Aiden's going to take your phone if you don't keep it put away.
That's funny. I watched a lot of people take the barcode off the truck.
Give me. Okay. That's fair.
Give me trash can, why don't you come up
You
and
just go, put it back. Put that thing back where it came from. Something.
I said Seth is good again.
For the most part.
The other thing while we're waiting, again, talking about grades and stuff. First 9 weeks, if you busted your tail the first 9 weeks, you're probably okay now. All right? I think I showed you guys, if you got like an 84 or something, we probably went over something like that. First 9 weeks, what you got to have for the rest of the year and stuff. Dylan's shaking his head no. If you get out,
right now?
get out of, if you get out a calculator for me, we'll go over this real quick.
84 is a day.
I kept the thing using all my classes.
Oh, that's my
Somehow.
calculator.
I don't know.
I lost mine first session. Third, fourth.
To pass this course, you need a 60 overall, right? 60 overall means that you need, each one of these counts as a double grade. This counts double. This one counts double, that counts double, that counts double. The exams don't count double. There's 10 grades. 60 times 10, what's 60 times 10? So you need 600 points. You need 600 points, all right, to pass.
That's at a D.
That would be a D. Dustin, you with me?
Yes.
600 points total. If you got an 84 the first 9 weeks, times that by 2, what's 84 times 2? So we got 168 points as of that point. So we got 600 minus 168. Somebody do that for us.
432.
432.
That ain't that much.
We still have, after that first 9 weeks, we still have 8 grades. All right? Divide this by 8.
54.
For those, the rest of those grades, you need to average a 54. So you could have, if you got a 54 here, 54 here, 54 here, 54 here, 54 here,
If you do that
You
fast.
you would pass for the year.
Are you serious? That, like,
Now, the bad thing with that
Wait,
is,
I got a question.
He's not saying fail
Say,
on purpose.
say you had like a 98,
Too late.
would
what's
that
if you did?
other
what's if you
sports
did go to
be
middle
lower?
school?
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I look at my,
That should be good.
feel like,
Like, not
you
even-
did good, only because that you need a little part.
So, make sure, now the bad thing with me showing you this, and it happens all the time. Now, Johnny thinks, all I gotta do is get a 54 because I had that grade. And Johnny ends up on the final exam or something getting like a 50.
You're 0.4 points off.
Then you're gonna be, your grade's gonna be like 59.2 or something.
That would be
And you're
so
gonna come in, okay, Ebersole, you done. Go away. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
I would be so mad if I was like
All right?
that.
And I've had students who did really, really well the first 9 weeks, and then for whatever reason, just turned into jerks the rest of the year and didn't do anything, thought they were gonna pass, and score like 5 points lower than they had to, and just be out of luck. Because that's, when it comes down to that point, you can already see, I get frustrated real easy now. Think about it at the end of the year. Think I'm really thinking, you know what? I'm gonna help this person out and give them that little push. Now, by that time, I'm thinking, you know what? Johnny's got on my nerves so much, screw him.
That's
And
like
so
saying-
does this work for all classes? Yeah.
Well, all year courses,
Yeah,
right?
Year-round.
English.
What about semester classes?
Semester's a little different, because then instead of having 10 grades, you only have half that, which is 5 grades.
They only have 30.
So you
Minimum.
you need 300 points
For a half.
for a half, right? Now,
So I had a world geography. I was only half, so I only need 300 for that.
yeah. And you got to be careful too. A couple years ago, I had a few students in this class, and our counselor at that point, I don't think, really knew what they were doing. But we've had several counselors since then.
We've not had one same counselor all high school.
Yeah, your whole career. So this was before you guys even got to high school. But I know there was like 5 students, and they took 5. Like today, they were calling people out of my class on this exact day, the first day of the second semester, and they were calling them out of my class. And then when they came back, they said, "Well, they're pulling me out of your class." I said, "Why?" Well, they said I can't pass it.
Oh, Miss Mindson.
And I said, what do you mean you can't pass it? Well, they said, I can't pass it because I didn't score enough whenever. And they were looking at it like this. So maybe this student, for the first 9 weeks, well, let's just keep it that 84. But for the second 9 weeks, they scored like a
30.
40. The exam, they scored like a 45 or something. And they were saying, well, they can't pass because
So they just have to bust their butt class.
Yeah.
somebody help me out.
80.
That's 80.
That's just 45.
And then that's
90.
45, add all those up.
293.
293.
7 points off for the half.
So that means they would have failed the first the first semester. And the way they had it, the way they were figuring it downstairs, somehow you had to pass the first semester separate, and you had to pass the second semester separate. And that's not the way a full year class is here.
You just get half a credit.
All right? Now, see, they don't
They
get,
only have to do it.
for this, you don't get half credits. For this class, you don't get half credit.
So if you fail it, you don't get.
You don't get anything.
Really?
So, but they were looking at it as you had to pass first semester, you had to pass second semester. And I had to go down and explain to them, no, that's not the way we do grades anymore. Now, when I was in school here, there were certain classes where you had to pass each semester to pass for the year. So it was, you get done here, and you get a semester grade, and you get done here, and you get a semester grade, and then to get the full year, you average those two together to get the overall grade. But they don't do grades that way here anymore. So, I had to explain to them, no, that's not the way it is. They still have a real good chance of passing this. You know, they just gotta make up that 7 points.
They got 84, the third and fourth that you passed, right?
Right. And then it'd have to be, it doesn't have to be that high. But know what you need. It used to be too that I used to pass out and tell everybody, start of the semester, okay, this is what you need for the rest of the year to pass the course. But then I give Michaela her little slip of paper and it says you need to score 20 for the rest of the year to pass this course. And then that's where I got the people who score like a 19 and wouldn't pass because I only needed 20. And so I quit doing that. If you guys can figure it out, I figured by now, if you can figure it out on your own, good, go right ahead, see what you need.
I'll keep the 90s.
But that's, my suggestion is, don't think, I only need a 50 to pass for the whole year. And then try to keep your grade right at a 50, because if it dips a little below it, then you're screwed. And the other thing, 4th 9 weeks for all you guys as seniors. What goes on during that time? You got all the graduation stuff. And it's gonna stress all of you out. And nobody's gonna feel like doing any of my trans math stuff. Does that mean Ebersole's just gonna quit and say, oh, well, I feel sorry for Bo. He's got so much stress. We're not gonna do anything.
Pretty good.
Gray hair.
Do you keep 90s?
Didn't you say
Do you get 90s on the
Yeah, it's a
exam?
call.
So, again, same thing as I told you the first 9 weeks. This third 9 weeks, try really hard this 9 weeks, bust your tail, get that grade, then for the 4th 9 weeks, you can take it off a little bit, all right?
You don't even have to worry
No,
about
we're
it.
not quitters, we're gonna keep going.
When I was here, see, I was a quitter. But when I was here, I took, I had like 3 math classes my senior year, and I took one of the math classes. I scored like I think for the third 9 weeks, I scored like a 90 or something. 4th 9 weeks, I scored like a 30. I just did absolutely nothing in that 4th 9 weeks because it was my senior year and I was ready to go. And so,
And did you pass or no?
yeah, I ended up passing.
I mean, he wouldn't be a teacher if he didn't graduate high school.
That's true.
Yeah, it's probably.
There's no way that I need a high school degree in order to teach high school students.
Yeah, but it was probably it was probably a math class I didn't really need because I back then I think we only had to have 2 maths to graduate and I was taking 3 my senior year. So
Oh, shit.
on this Ohio, looking at Ohio, we looked at this earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
7.
Ohio is 5.75. Does that sound right?
I don't know.
It's 7 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
What, for Ohio, it's 75?
Right.
With
But
county.
Ohio actually is 5.75, and that's what this says. Plus, for Preble County, and this was as of last year, I don't know if it's changed, or if they're jacking it up now or moving it around. But Preble County charges you 2.25, and Ohio charges 5.75, and that ends up being a total, as of last year, it was a total of 8%. And I think, like you said, I think maybe it went down to 7.5 total.
I think so. That's what we use, 7.5 in the county for our sales tax.
See, so I think maybe the county, I can't remember, if maybe the county dropped down or the state of Ohio dropped down, one of them dropped down part of the way through last year, I think. They change it up depending on, trying to give people breaks because of inflation and everything else. In Indiana, in Wayne County, it's 7%. I don't have any idea how much of that is Indiana tax and how much is Wayne County. But you go to different counties and you'll see different tax rates. Again, some of these, looking at tax rates, you look at places like New Hampshire has no sales tax. All right?
I'm sure they tax you on something else.
Right. New Hampshire and let's see where New York. Look at New York. New York's only 4% sales tax, so it's fairly low. Well, the reason for that, in those kind of states, they really hammer you on property tax and all that those other kind of taxes that we've talked about earlier this year. So they really bust you on everything else, but they don't charge a whole lot of sales tax. Now you look at like let's go to Florida at. Florida's 6%. All right, and it's probably higher than that now. I think this is sort of an old chart. Florida's 6%. Fairly high. It's one of the higher ones up there. 6, 7 is fairly anywhere between 6 and 7. Pretty is upper level. Florida, why they charge a higher sales tax?
Tourists to get more people.
Because the people who are buying stupid stuff down there are the tourists. So they get, when you go down to Florida, you go to Disney World, they get your money from the sales tax. And does anybody remember when we looked at Florida, what was their property taxes? Or I'm sorry, their income taxes. What were the income taxes?
Higher. Would it be?
It was 0. They don't tax their income taxes because they don't want the people who live in Florida have to pay the tax. They want to charge the people who are coming to visit to pay all those taxes. Alaska. Why do you think there's no sales tax in Alaska?
Because they already got paying enough for all the supplies.
Yeah, everything that you buy up there is already high enough. It's already been taxed. By the time it gets to Alaska, it's already been taxed so much that it's ridiculous. When I first got out of college, I interviewed with to teach at a school in Alaska, and I looked at, and they were going to pay me starting out what I'm making right now after 30 years. So, I thought, man, that's great. But then I looked at stuff, and at that point, bread, you can still buy bread for like 3 loaves for $1, 3 loaves for $1.50, something like that. Bread up there, just a loaf of bread was like $4 for just one loaf of bread. And I thought, well, that's probably
average.
right. It's going to average out to not really be all that great. Jacob purchased a used car for $8,430. Sales tax rate is 5.5%. County tax is 1%. What is the total tax Jacob paid. So the total tax rate is what? 6.5%. So that's the total tax rate. Now to figure out the total tax that he paid, we take the 8,430, have your calculators out, help me out here. 6.5%, what do we gotta do to that 6.5? A lot of you still messing this up, so make sure you don't mess this up. 0.065, make sure you bump it over enough.
547.95.
Anybody else get that?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? This is another thing, on your, a bunch of your exams. Oh, I about pulled my hair out. Because we had stuff on your exams and it said, Johnny puts $300 in the savings account. In 6 months, how much interest is he gonna draw on this at 3% or whatever? And I had a whole lot of people putting down like $1,000, $1,500. You really don't think that, right? I hope none of you think that. If you put $300 in a savings account and leave it there for 6 months, are you really gonna draw $1,000 interest? No, if you could, I wouldn't be here today. I would have put $300 in a savings account long time ago and just lived off the interest every 6 months, all right? So you gotta make sure that your answer makes sense. If you're buying a car, it's $8,000. Does it make sense that you're gonna pay $550 in tax? Yeah, probably.
I hope he's not paying $8 grand for that truck.
No, the guy who bought that.
Yes, he has bigger issues than that.
The guy who bought that truck paid 10. He paid $8 grand.
Rocky purchased 7 packages of golf balls at $12.50 each, a box of tees for $3.95, a 9-iron for $179.99. He must pay state tax of 7%, county tax of 0.5%, and city tax of 1.3%. How much will he pay in taxes for his purchase? How are we gonna find the total tax rate, first of all?
Add the percent.
So somebody help me out and add all those up.
8.8%.
8.8, everybody agree with that?
Sure. And then at 7 packages of golf balls at $12.50 times,
So what do we do with all this?
$12.50 times 7.
So $12.50 times 7.
87 point.
Let's go ahead and let's just keep that there. What else?
They bought the trees for $3.95.
So plus 3.95.
Plus $179.99.
Somebody figure all that out. This is gonna be our total cost, or actually, this is gonna be the cost of all the items.
Times the.
So just punch all that into your calculator, what do you come up with? 271 point what?
44.
Now, is that how much it's gonna cost us when we get up to the cashier?
No.
No, because what else has to be added in there?
Tax.
Tax.
Times.
So find the tax, we do the 271.44 times what? 0.088, good. What's that give you?
$23.89.
This is the what? That's how much
The
tax.
How much?
Now, is that always your final answer?
No.
No, this time, and make sure you read the problems carefully, this says how much taxes will he pay? $23.89. How would we find his total final cost?
That plus 271.
Right. If we wanted to find that, then we'd add those two. Here, they just ask us for a tax, so make sure you read the problems carefully, know which one they're asking you for.
This is easy.
Don't get there and jinx it.
Don't change it.
No, he said it was easy and I was saying, don't get there and jinx it.
Susan decided to decorate her office. She purchased a lamp for $129.99, picture for $195.50, and a pen and pencil tray for $19.50. State tax is 6.5, city tax is 2.5. What is the total tax? How do we find the tax rate, or what is the tax
Sounds
rate?
like Susan don't care about what the tax is.
9%?
Sounds like she's gonna
Hey,
pay for things. You're paying $129 for a lamp here in the state.
What are we gonna do, what are we gonna do with all these?
Add them together.
Add them all together, somebody add all those together.
344.99.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
What are we gonna times that by?
0.09.
0.09, make sure you're doing it right. Again, this time they just wanted the total tax.
31. And then times it.
Make sure too, that you're rounding it off, 2 places behind the decimal every time when we're dealing with money. Again, on the exams, I marked several wrong because people write down something like $12.2. That's wrong. It's $12.20. You need that 0 on there. Make sure you're always going out 2 places. Or I take that back. A lot of people on the exam, the ones I marked wrong, look like this: 15.927, and they left it that way.
Can't have a 947.
Can't have 927 cents. You got to round it off somehow. All right, 2 places behind the decimal.
I mean, we could
It's all
definitely
based
have
on my
like-
opinion.
No, that's what I mean. You
Yeah,
can't.
I said that wrong.
Oh,
John Webb purchased an electric drill from a hardware store and gave the clerk a $50 bill. He received $11.53 in change. The sales tax was 7%. Find the total selling price of the drill. How are we gonna do that? First thing you do is what? Subtract what?
50 minus 11.53.
What's that give us?
38.50.
38 what?
50.
38.47.
38.47.
So that's the total, what we just found was his total cost. So he walked out the door and that drill cost him $38.47. But was that the price of the drill?
No, that's with tax.
That's with the tax. So we got the price
38.
plus tax equals 38.47. Now for the tax, how much tax?
7%.
7%. All right, it's 7% of the price, right? So maybe a better way to write this, the price is the price. But how do you find the tax? You take the price times the percentage, right? So 0.07 times the price should equal 38.47. Notice anything about these 2 parts here? They both have price in it, don't they? Maybe if we wrote it in algebra form, a lot of people don't like, when I teach this class, a lot of people don't like a lot of people like words and a lot of people don't like X's and letters in it, so I try to write it this way to help you out. But just think of the price, that's what we don't know, so that's like our X. So this is like X plus 0.07X equals that 38.47. Well, if you remember back to your algebra days, what's the number in front of this X right here?
1.
A 1. What's 1 plus 0.07? 1.07 times X equals 38.47. If this said 3X right here, what would you do to both sides to get X by itself?
Divided by 3.
Divide by 3. If it says 1.07X, what are you going to do to both sides to get X by itself?
Divided by 1.
Divided by that 1.07, and that's 35.95. What's 35.95?
Of the drill without the tax.
That was the price of the drill. So if we walked up there and bought the same drill that John bought, right there on the tag, it should say 35.95.
Can you do the 38.47 divided by 7? I give you, how much tax? 5.50, so 5.57.
Right, and then, what's that give you?
How
Well,
much?
then what do you have to do with that?
Subtract.
Subtract it.
That minus 38.47.
So you're doing the same thing, Dylan, except you are dividing, then subtracting.
Yeah.
We added, then divided, so you're just like doing it backwards from what we did.
Yeah.
Same thing, if it makes sense to you that way, that's fine. The only thing I'll say, Dylan, is, again, make sure that your answer makes sense. Because if you come up, what'd you say, $5 and,
50 cents.
that shouldn't have been $5 though.
5.50 cents. What I got. 38.47 divided by 7.
0.07.
Yeah, but that didn't make sense when you did it that way.
Try it and see it.
38.47 divided by 0.07.
Yeah. No. Times by 0.07. And that's not, no, that won't work.
Yeah, that won't work well.
No.
Times 0.07.
What I started to say,
2.69. Yeah. 2.70 cents. Times.
so, that's still a little high.
Okay, the way you did it, that worked great.
So you can do it backwards. And if you figure out a way, if Tage figures out a way that he thinks is easier, that's fine, go right ahead. Just make sure that your answer makes sense. What did they ask us for here? The price of the drill. If you come up with $2 and some cents, is that your answer?
No.
No, that's not how much the drill costs, that's the tax, and then you'd have to find the cost of the drill. Alright, the assignment's on page 255, problems 1 through 12, not a very long assignment. You got about 20 minutes, probably get a whole bunch of it done.